It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my...
Welcome back to Hour 2 of Where You Live with Gene and Tony, broadcasting from the Concierge Landscape Studios and brought to you this second hour by Extreme Exteriors. And if you're just joining us, we're talking about this last week, of course, the first day of the Minnesota legislature began last Tuesday.
Thank you so much,
on
Minnesota.
On that first day already, there was proposed legislation dealing with tenants in foreclosures, and as a second aspect of the bill, a moratorium on foreclosures in the state of Minnesota for a period of 2 years. And we already talked about it ad infinitum on the first part of this bill, Tony, and that is it's just not needed.
Right.
Because there's already legislation in place.
Well, a lot of it has to deal with landlord-tenant law that's already in place, giving proper notice, evicting for cause, non-renewal of leases or renewing leases. It's already covered by existing landlord-tenant law. The only thing that they're tweaking is during the foreclosure process.
Yeah. And I'll say, in all fairness, legislators have to deal with an awful lot in a short period of time, and they, of course, cannot be experts in everything that they're putting forth. God bless them. They probably try their best,
Well, that's a reason. But I think they have more responsibility to get educated before they start throwing their weight around and passing new laws.
Yeah, it would be great if we saw legislators that took a little bit more time before a session got started in educating themselves and going to reliable, credible sources.
I agree.
And ask questions, because had they done so, had they talked to a great organization like Minnesota Multi-Housing,
that's right,
they would have been able to tell them, you don't need to waste your time on most of this first part of this bill because it's already in place with state statute.
Or it's just common sense that an investor, landlord, wants to retain good tenants. That even if they bought the building in a foreclosure sale, they're not going to kick out paying tenants.
Yeah, you don't have to have a bill telling a landlord that he doesn't have to kick out people or that he can't. Because he doesn't want to.
That's right.
Unless there is cause.
That's right.
And this bill says if there is cause, kick them out.
And this bill doesn't cover the accidental landlord or the person that wants to occupy the property if it's a single-family home. This bill doesn't cover them. They can give 60 days notice to the renter because they want to move in.
So there's some things that just these are people that may not understand, I think, what goes on in the free market with the rentals.
Where have I heard ignorance of the law is no excuse?
Yeah. Probably from legislators.
Probably.
But let's talk about this second part, the foreclosure moratorium. This is what we were talking about in the last segment here. And it says we're declaring that the Minnesota legislature understands that there is an economic emergency that exists. And in this state, we want to have a moratorium on foreclosures for a period of 2 years, and it would allow those who are living in the home to be able to turn to their mortgage company and say, I'm giving you official notice that you cannot kick me out of this home, and then that should be a good for 2 years.
That's right. Now, they have to serve the notice in order to have the stay enacted.
It's not automatic.
And it's not a free ride. You have to make payments during that stay.
They do, and it's interesting what they talk about. But I'm concerned about this part. But let's read it. Why don't you read that part, Tony? That is, I think, on line 120. It starts here.
Oh. My lines don't seem to be numbered that way.
It says, let me go ahead here then. The holder of the stay so we're talking about the person who owns the property, who gave the notice, right, shall make reasonable, affordable monthly payments to the foreclosing lender. That sounds okay at face value.
Well, except everyone's going to have a different interpretation of what reasonable and affordable is.
Yes, they will. But, of course, they tried to define that a little bit later.
Thank you, state legislator. You're going to define it for us.
Here's how they define what is reasonable and affordable. Folks, tell me if you think this is reasonable and affordable, okay? It says the monthly payment shall be equal to the monthly payment when the stay becomes effective, or 41% of this homeowner's, the borrower's, documented and verified monthly gross income, whichever is less.
Okay. So let me get this straight. I can't pay my mortgage payment. I go however many months without paying my mortgage payment. I get a notice that the mortgagee is going to foreclose and the sheriff's sale will occur on a certain date. Now, if I'm savvy, I will wait for that sheriff's sale to occur. I will wait for, I have a 6-month redemption period. I will wait for 5 months and 29 days, not paying my mortgage. And then I will serve my mortgage company with a notice of a stay that allows me to stay in the home for another 2 years, as long as I make a monthly payment equal to what my old monthly payment was, which I couldn't afford.
But if you could make that payment, then
that's what I'm getting to.
Yeah.
So I have to make a monthly payment, which is the same as the one I couldn't afford, or a payment equal to 41% of my gross income. That's huge. That's a huge amount of money.
And that is ridiculous. A lot of this took place because we had on the federal level, we had our federal senators and our House of Representatives in Congress who put a lot of pressure, and they changed things with mortgage lenders a number of years ago, and they said, you're not being fair to the poor and disadvantaged, the disenfranchised, to minorities. Because the fact that you have qualifications to get a mortgage means that you are placing undue obstacles and restrictions. You need to get rid of those. And so they did. And so mortgage lenders started making mortgages
available,
and they
didn't
knew
have
that
those criteria.
People aren't going to pay these mortgages.
But
they can't afford it.
Because of the higher risk, the mortgage companies had to charge higher interest for those risky loans.
Yep.
Now the government's trying to deal with the aftermath of that, and that is people who cannot afford the mortgage they have.
And again, to come back and to say to someone that you only have to pay 41%, I was thinking of another analogy. This would be like someone who is on assistance, okay, and they receive food stamps and an allowance for food. That would be like someone who is on that type of public assistance, walking into a very good restaurant, let's say Manny's. Things are kind of expensive there.
Right.
People don't go there all the time. Right. So they go there, they order anything that they want. And then at the end, they say, well, by the way, I only get so much in a food allowance a month. So that means if I get $300 a month, that means it's $10 a day. I'll give you 40%. Here, you get $4 for the meal. What would people think of that? Yeah. They would say, what
That's
you did
crazy.
is wrong.
That's crazy.
You're bilking a restaurant. That would not be allowed.
That's right.
But that's
right.
what they're allowing to do here.
Be done to mortgage companies.
On mortgage companies.
I'm kind of astounded that they think 40% of my gross income is a reasonable amount to pay. Hopefully, I never had a mortgage payment, that was that much. I couldn't afford my lower mortgage payment. 41%, that's like 41. If I made $100 in a month, that means I would have to pay 41% of my take. No. I'd have to pay $41 a month, regardless of what my take home was. My take home was only $75. Oh, I don't know. It's craziness.
Yeah, if they're trying to define what is reasonable, no, they have not accomplished it. Affordable, yes. Who wouldn't like to have that kind of arrangement? But I just think it is wrong.
Yeah, I'm not even sure they're making it affordable. I think they're just postponing the inevitable.
Yeah. Folks, what do you think about this? Is this foreclosure moratorium a good idea? I would say no, and for so many other reasons.
Why do you think it's bad? If
Well,
it's going to help someone stay in their home.
I'll tell you after this break.